Viewer, what is happening in Bangladesh today under interim chief Mohammad Yunus would be considered sacrilege by every correct-thinking Bangladeshi patriot who understands how that country was born. Bangladesh was not created by accident. It was forged in blood in 1971 in the shadow of a genocide by what was then West Pakistan. It was born when India opened its doors to 10 million refugees fleeing those Pakistani atrocities. When India trained, armed, and backed the Mukti Bahini. When India went to a full-scale war in 1971, when nearly 3,900 Indian soldiers died so Bangladesh could exist. That shared sacrifice was the moral foundation of the relationship between India and Bangladesh. And that foundation has, over the last few weeks, been deliberately dismantled by the people running that country now. The Yunus government has made its state policy to destroy symbols of the 1971 war, literally erasing Bangladesh's origin story in order to pander to Islamist radicals. This is a tale of two Decembers, one in 1971 and one in 2025 that we are in. Look at the contrast, viewer. In 1971, Pakistan carried out a genocide in Bangladesh, what was then East Pakistan. In 2025, the Yunus government hosts that same Pakistan army and prepares to sign defense deals with the very institution that butchered the Bengalis of Bangladesh. In 1971, the Jamaat-e-Islami collaborated with the Pakistan army. In 2025, Yunus has unbanned the Jamaat and brought its ideology back into the mainstream. In 1971, India liberated Bangladesh. In 2025, minorities, especially Hindus, are attacked with impunity. This is institutionalized erasure of Bangladesh's history, to erase its indelible links with India. The symbols of 1971 are being hollowed out. The consensus that bound the two nations is being abandoned. Anti-India rhetoric is being normalized. India is falsely accused of assassinations. Indian missions are threatened on a daily basis, and Bangladesh quietly tilts towards Pakistan and China, even flirting with strategic and nuclear alignments. What is this if not historic folly? The public, not tracking the story on a daily basis, must be wondering, how did we come to this point? How did a relationship that was forged in sacrifice in 1971 become so acrimonious? You cannot erase 1971 without erasing Bangladesh itself. You cannot dishonor the memory of those who died and pretend history will forgive you. A nation that forgets the hands that saved it risks losing its moral compass altogether. And remember the sacrifice of the thousands upon thousands of Bangladeshis in the liberation war. And that is what is happening in real time right now in that country. Don't be fooled that this is some temporary diplomatic shift or geopolitical churn. It is a betrayal of the dead. Bangladesh's youth, generationally disconnected from their nation's birth by 54 years of history, have been made the cannon fodder of an Islamist impulse. And history is unforgiving to those who try to rewrite blood. And now I want to show you just how things have changed and why a turn has taken place in what was otherwise a very, very close relationship between the two countries. Why has Bangladesh turned? This is my theory. Number one, generational discontinuity. Generational discontinuity is one of the main reasons for this. Number two, the collapse of the 1971 consensus, where India and Bangladesh always agreed that the 1971 war that liberated Bangladesh was something that held the two countries together. Number three, the rise of new political forces in Bangladesh, like the ones that are ruling right now. Number four, the rise of Islamic radicalism that is a threat to the entire world finds a safe haven in Bangladesh, even in its mainstream. Number five, US deep state intervention, definitely something on the table. And number six, the strategic alignment by the Yunus government with Pakistan and China and shifting away. This story, if you boil it and distill it down, is basically a story of two Decembers, my friends. 1971 December, when the war happened, and December 2025 that we are in right now. And there couldn't be a bigger distance between these two Decembers, because in 1971 December, India provided refuge to 10 million Bangladeshis fleeing Pakistani atrocities. In December 2025, the Yunus government has been hosting the Pakistan army and is set to sign a defense deal, according to some reports. In December 1971, India trained, armed and supported the Mukti Bahini, the brave Mukti Bahini forces, the resistance force in Bangladesh. In December 2025, the Yunus government has unbanned the anti-India Jamaat-e-Islami. In 1971 December, India launched a full-scale liberation war for Bangladesh, the 1971 war. In December 2025, the Yunus government permits atrocities on minority Hindus. In December 1971, India sacrificed 3,900 military personnel to liberate Bangladesh in that war, not to speak of the thousands who died in Bangladesh as well. 2025 December, Yunus government wrongly accuses India of Hadi's assassination. In December 1971, India led post-war reconstruction of Bangladesh more than any other nation. In December 2025, the Yunus government permits threats to the Indian high commissions and consulates. In December 1971, India was the biggest supporter of Bangladesh's post-war rise. In 2025 December, the Yunus government is expected, according to some reports, to sign a strategic pact with Pakistan, which may even have a nuclear angle. Okay, we've got some breaking news coming in now. There's been a bomb blast in Bangladesh, in Dhaka, amidst the national turmoil in that country. A young man named Siam has been confirmed killed in a bomb explosion thrown by miscreants in the capital's Mog Bazar. The incident took place under a flyover near the Freedom Fighters Memorial. Very, very ironic that it happened there, but probably not a coincidence at all. The bomb was thrown downward from above the flyover in the evening. A man named Siam was seriously injured on the spot. We don't have details of what the context was, what the provocation was, but it comes amidst a lot of chaos, a lot of turmoil that is taking place in Dhaka and other parts of Bangladesh. I want to bring in NDTV's senior executive editor Aditya Raj Kaul, who's been reporting on the turmoil in Bangladesh. Aditya, tell us what this bomb attack was about.
Well, Shiv, this is breaking first on NDTV. There's been a bomb blast in the Mog Bazar area of Dhaka. This is the southern part of the city, and this has happened just an hour back. This is also what I'm picking up now, Liberation War Veterans Association. Just outside that, there's bomb blast taking place, and one youth, unfortunately named Siam, as per initial reports, has been killed. He was grievously injured. He was rushed to the hospital nearby, but on the way, he has succumbed to the injuries. We are also picking up now that the blast is likely a cocktail blast, a cocktail kind of a bomb that was slammed towards this Liberation War Memorial from above the flyover. So this is a big development taking place, Shiv, at a time when Tariq Rahman, the senior leader from the BNP, is tomorrow returning to Dhaka after 17 years in exile. This also happens nearly 10 to 12 days after Osman Hadi, a youth leader, was killed brutally by two unknown gunmen. We do not have any kind of details about who killed Osman Hadi, but this raises questions on the misgovernance, the law and order failure, and complete chaos on the streets of Dhaka and across Bangladesh. This also comes days after a Hindu man was lynched brutally on the streets of Bangladesh, and we had those visuals and protests taking place in Bangladesh and India about that. But the latest development that we are picking up, an hour ago, a bomb blast taking place in Mog Bazar area of Dhaka city, the capital city of Bangladesh. This is also the area which headquarters the Jamaat-e-Islami. This is the headquarters of the Jamaat-e-Islami that we are talking about. Jamaat-e-Islami was isolated for many years, but ever since Yunus came to power, Jamaat-e-Islami has got a new life. They have been protesting, they've been marching, and they've been trying to take control and the power center in Dhaka. So the initial details that we are picking up, Shiv, here on NDTV is that a blast has taken place in the Mog Bazar area. One person has been killed. Investigations are on. We do not know the intentions. We certainly do not know who has done this.
And with the tensions already riding very, very high, both in Dhaka and in different parts of India, a single act of this kind could spiral into widespread violence. Very, very troubling news break coming in from Dhaka. Aditya continues to stay with me. Let's go straight to our big voices tonight on India Matters, because the turmoil in Bangladesh is something that India simply cannot look away from. But there is also a moment when we need to put some of the anger and emotions about what is happening aside and really get to the heart of the matter. I have detailed how memories of 1971 are being sought to be erased, from the public imagination. But what is the outcome that Yunus desires, and what can India do to counter it? Is there a middle ground? What is the next step? Those are the questions we're asking tonight. Joining me live, apart from Aditya, Veena Sikri, former High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Senior Fellow, IPCS and political analyst and strategic affairs commentator. But I'd like to start with Muqtadir Rashid. He's a senior journalist, one of the most well-respected voices in the Bangladesh media. Muqtadir, welcome. Thank you for your time tonight at a time of a great deal of trouble that we are seeing in both our countries, and specifically on this relationship. It requires some sober commentary. So I want your perspective tonight, Muqtadir, on attempts to erase 1971, the pandering to the Islamists. India is looking with a great deal of concern at what's going on.
Thank you for having me. It's true that the far-right groups were somewhat backed by a few of the advisors of Dr. Muhammad Yunus. I'm not going to blame Dr. Muhammad Yunus alone, but a few of the advisors who backed this Islamist group, as like they wanted to put Jamaat Islami into the power by any means, and they are putting their like-minded people everywhere in the administration, police, and everywhere. So there is this kind of attitude, and we have seen those who are elected by the Shibir, the Islamic Chapter Shibir, the student wing of Jamaat Islam. They also elected a few of their leaders in the Rafsu, the student wing leaders. So we have seen they are mishandled, the teachers of the universities and those who are independent or pro-Awami League or even the secular, they are being targeted. So we have seen those who are the liberal, mindset people, and also the people from the progressive mind, they are tremendous attack by the far right, and the far right are getting every other kind of support from this government, and we have seen this happen when the government want to have their some kind of backing. And in the past, we have seen this government say, when we alarm this government and say, "This, look, it's happening because it's dangerous for us," and then the government said, "Look, it is a pressure group." So, but now we are seeing that Daily Star, one of the respected newspaper, has been gutted, and also the Prathamal has been gutted just because they believe, the far right believes that it's a pro-Indian. But we have to think that every kind of expression should be expressed when it is cleared by government rule. So we are in a position then when the Jamaat is the most powerful element in the society to eradicate and taking all kind of revenge. I believe the revenge they are taking against whoever protesting against them. So we are worried about this situation. But on the other hand, some of the issue I must raise here, because India every time dependent on Awami League. So people started thinking that when you back India, so you back Awami League, so it means you are backing Awami League misrule in Bangladesh. So that is a big concern for us.
No, that's an important one that cannot be ignored. Ambassador Sikri, we've set the deck tonight on India Matters with what is happening. There's just been a bomb blast. You've heard what Muqtadir has also said. The 1971 legacy being actively erased. Aditya, in fact, did an excellent piece today on the NDTV website detailing how this is meticulously being done in order, to create a kind of generational shift in in institutional and public memory for the 1971 war. How are you reading what's going on, and how, what should India be thinking?
Well, let me first give a brief description of what I think is going on. I think you've already highlighted some of the points, but I think the first thing to understand is that what happened in July, August last year was not a revolution. It was not spontaneous, and it was not a students' uprising. It was a regime change operation that has installed the Jamaat-e-Islami as the power behind the throne. Muhammad Yunus is the spokesperson of the Jamaat-e-Islami. He is the one who is repeating whatever they want him to repeat. So I think the forces behind it, we know that, you've already mentioned the American deep state, but Pakistan has been the conduit for this, and Pakistan has done this to the Jamaat-e-Islami. Yes, Pakistan, America, Jamaat-e-Islami, these were the losers in 1971. And now they think they have come to power, and they are trying to erase every memory of the last 54 years. And Pakistan particularly is trying to re-embed itself with the Bangladesh army. I mean, at one time the armies were the same, but now they are re-embedding themselves with the Bangladesh army.
Yeah.
They've removed all visa restrictions, etc., that prevailed over the last 54 years, and have been making statements like defense deal with Bangladesh, Asim Munir saying attack from the east. All that is one aspect. Now, when the Jamaat-e-Islami has come to power in this way, they are enacting what they were doing in 1971. The first thing is the attacks on all the minorities, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Christians, the Sufis, and the Ahmadiyya. This happened from the 5th of August onwards. But the Yunus regime has been in complete denial. Every time he goes abroad and he's asked about it, he says, oh, that's fake news from India. So, and we know it has culminated in the absolutely inhuman and barbaric killing of Dipu Chandra Das, which has, the world is now speaking about it and saying that this cannot be a human, a civilized thing to do. And to think that this should be happening in Bangladesh in the 21st century is really shocking. The other thing is that together with the elimination of 1971 memory and the attacks on the Hindu minority, the Bangladesh economy has got destroyed because of Muhammad Yunus wanting to destroy the pattern of economic cooperation between India and Bangladesh that brought prosperity to Bangladesh. They had 6.5% growth, 7% growth every year for 15 years. They were ready to graduate out of the least developed country status. But today it's a complete reversal.
I want to bring Abhijit in on that aspect. The alignment with Pakistan that is being reported, Abhijit. How big is it? How do you read it? How much of a threat is it, to India? Abhijit?
Look, more than the threat to India, it's the threat to Bangladesh itself.
Yeah.
Because understand what this illegal fraud fellow who rules at the moment called Muhammad Yunus, he said the elections were rigged. Okay, you come to power and hold elections again? No. You see, he realized that the mindset of the people itself was pro-Awami League. So in order to have fair elections, you have to change the mind of the people, which will take 10, 15 years, which is why the army literally had to force him to hold the elections in February, as I hear it, holding a gun to his head, if not slightly less. This is number one. Now, in this context, when you look at Pakistani interference, what are they trying to do? Pakistan, anything that goes against India, they try to portray it as a great victory for them. They tried this in Maldives as well. If you remember, when the row over Twitter and Modi visiting the Lakshadweep Islands broke out, all these Pakistani handles, Muizu got invited to Pakistan, or some Pakistani guy also went to Maldives and things like that. Sri Lanka, they were claiming it was a victory. Where is Muizu now? Where is the Sri Lankan president who was called a communist? He's turned out to be India's best friend in a very long time. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to fish in troubled waters. The problem is they are now using it to prop up the same Islamist forces like the Jamaat-e-Islami and things like that. The first conflict they're going to come into is the army. Now, the army doesn't mind. The army, unlike the Pakistan army, is a very disciplined army. They are, they don't mind acting as arbiters between different forces within Bangladesh.
Correct.
But they're never going to allow this to become a Islam versus army debate, which is what Pakistan is egging on. So Pakistan, in a sense, is almost, without realizing it, they're almost getting the army involved or forcing the army's hand in a sense. And in this, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, the Jamaat-e-Islami and Muhammad Yunus are complicit in it because they want to keep postponing elections. So everything you're seeing, let us not pretend that Mohammed Yunus does not know what is happening, what is going to happen. In fact, I won't put it past him to actually let the crowds through and burn down an Indian consulate or a high commission out there and kill the diplomats in there. I won't put it past him.
No, it may very well happen given what we've seen in at least 3 cities of Bangladesh in the last 5-6 days. I wouldn't be surprised if violence actually escalates. There is no assurance that's been given.
It's guaranteed to escalate.
Yeah, Aditya, I want to ask you about that. How is the Indian government, how is the MEA, how is the central government looking at these developments? Is it like wait and watch? Is there a plan? Because it is very clear that it is having a large echo in different parts of India, and this could be a threat.
Well, that's right. It could be a threat. It has already been a threat in Chittagong. You would remember the visuals, Shiv, the kind of stone pelting that happened, and the police let it happen. I mean, there were army and the police personnel who were standing there, mute spectators, and letting the radical Islamist mob throw stones and sticks at the Indian Assistant High Commission. But as of now, the visa services are over. They're not functional. But at the same time, India is monitoring this very, very closely. Given our experience, over the last many decades, having such rescue efforts from all across the globe, more recently in Taliban-controlled Kabul, the rescue operation that happened before that, around that in Ukraine as well. So we have our contingency plans in place with the Indian Air Force and of course the Indian diplomats and Indian government monitoring situation very closely. But I've been in touch with the Indian diplomats in Dhaka who say that they're trying to see once Tariq Rahman lands there what really happens, because this bomb blast that has happened is one against the 1971 memorial, but it could also be the radicals' message to the BNP that look, we are here, we are the ones who are in control. Don't think that once the Awami League is over, the BNP will come in control. So will the free and fair elections really happen is anybody's guess. It's likely not to happen. As Veena Sikriji and others have spoken, it is not a revolution that the world spoke about. It is a regime change operation, certainly, but it's also about what Yunus's motive really is here. He wants to stay in power for as long as possible. So he wants to create a narrative against India, even though India is not involved in Osama Hadi's killing or anywhere near it. And at the same time, push this narrative through different groups, through Jamaat, through NCP, and through others. And at the same time, say that we are doing whatever is possible to control the situation. So I won't be surprised that the situation goes out of hand, not just against Indian diplomats and Indian missions, but within the groups, because the brother of Osama Hadi for the first time has come and said that Yunus is responsible for the killing, and finally the buck stops at Yunus, and they are trying to do so to derail the election.
The family of Hadi pointing at Yunus has been a bit of a turning point, given that the Yunus government had tried to blame India, as Aditya had first reported. So this is a huge turn of events. Muqtadir, but I want to talk about a larger issue, because the India-Bangladesh sort of stalemate is predicated around Sheikh Hasina, who is here in India since her ouster last year. Beyond that, how do you see the India-Bangladesh engagement in the context of what's going on right now? Is it going to get worse? Are there options for engagement to make things better beyond Sheikh Hasina, I'm saying?
I think so, because Sheikh Hasina basically fooled India repeatedly by her attachment to China. She is to basically exploit 1971 trauma and our historical memories. She used to use it, abuse it, I would say, and try to torture, running all kind of misdeed in the country. So she used to abuse all the 71 narrative, and then she used to go closer to China. It's in my analysis, and I hope you will understand later on. So by doing that, she used to basically make India a permanent enemy for the people who wanted to be independent. So that is a big mistake for Hasina herself, just to please China. But now we have to think beyond that parameters. We have to think the world is now for the cooperation. The people what used to think in 71 probably has been changed by now. So we don't want to go out of this. We don't want to get rid of this idolatry because the BNP and many other parties now very aligned with 1971 war and of course with the 2024. So this spirit is not about misruling the country, but we can co-join both of that and move forward with the relation, even with the India. But the problem is, whenever you talk about Bangladesh-Indian relation, you only think about what you did in 1971 war, but you didn't talk about how Sheikh Hasina misused it for her own purpose and, abuse it against her rivals, especially Bangladesh Nationalist Party and many leftist organizations she basically went after. So we have to take bigger aspect of this. And now, with the people in Bangladesh, we feel we have to have relation with every other members of the South.
Abhijit wants to counter you, Muqtadir. Abhijit, go ahead. Abhijit has a counter view to you. Just listen.
If you think we can't talk to India,
is ridiculous.
Can't talk to Pakistan, it is very upsetting. So we have to talk to everyone.
Yeah, Abhijit, go ahead.
So, Shiv, this is a completely ingenuous argument. We can't interfere in what the Bangladeshi government does at any given point of time. Remember, when the BNP was also throwing Sheikh Hasina in jail and things like that, we didn't open our mouth. So, we support whoever rules Bangladesh, full stop. You can't tell us that, we have to then interfere. Then we interfere and then we get blamed for that also. I'm sorry, regime changes when we went on asking you to, in spite of not being able to win an election, even after, or even hold an election 1.5 years after ousting Sheikh Hasina for not holding a proper election.
Muqtadir, quick answer. Then I'll bring Ambassador Sikri in.
We have seen the Indian Foreign Minister, Indian Foreign Secretary came here to intervene our election back in 2013. We have seen how India, mom, when opposition was tortured.
How is that interference, Muqtadir? Come on.
How did they interfere? Muqtadir, how did they interfere? Tell us.
They bring all together for an election. So it was a kind of interference.
No. What do you mean? See, you said the foreign minister came in 2013.
I have no issue with that unless you
tell me, how did they interfere? I'm sorry, I'm not going to let this go. How did we interfere? Tell us how we interfered. Give me the specific. 2013 foreign minister comes. How is it interference?
Because she sat with everyone and talked to political parties to hold an election. And that election was highly rigged. It was the first election, and Sheikh Hasina turned dictator from then on. So we have to think about this.
So foreign minister visiting turned her into a dictator. Have you heard? I'm sorry, Shiv. This is ridiculous.
Please try to understand the cycle. Please.
I'm sorry. You made a very strong statement. You now have to give proof. You can't say foreign minister visited and then she turned dictator. I'm sorry, this is not the way things work. If that is the case, then I want to, if that is the standard of proof, then I want to claim that it is actually aliens who came and interfered in Bangladeshi election. UFO, Martians and Venusians came in spaceships and interfered in your elections. Please give me proof.
No.
You said the foreign minister came in 2013.
Of course,
you said,
and she talked to political leadership to hold the election. She sat with Irshad. She sat with other leaders, and we found an election without major political party that was boycotted by BNP.
Where is the cause effect? Muqtadir, do you understand cause effect? No. So foreign minister
maybe it's a cause effect, but it happened.
Taking coincidence and passing it off as causality. Show me one government. You now control the government. Where is the document showing that the Indian foreign minister interfered? You said the Indian foreign minister came, then she held a meeting with parties and she became a dictator. Where is the causality?
No, I said Sheikh Hasina became
okay.
After
yes, but you said Indian interference, and it happened because in 2013 the Indian foreign minister visited. You can't make a sweeping statement like that without proof. I'm sorry.
Okay, point by Abhijit. I want to bring. One second. Let's move beyond just this point, because an allegation of interference has been made, and Muqtadir suggests that starting from 1971, there has been a sort of legacy of interference in the politics of Bangladesh. Ambassador Sikri, you've been there in Dhaka. Muqtadir is pointing at at people like you and saying this has been interference in Bangladesh, and what you're seeing right now ultimately is a kind of generational reaction to that. How do you respond to Muqtadir, Ambassador Sikri?
Well, I may say that Muqtadir doesn't have any idea about how foreign policy is conducted and how international relations are conducted. Maybe the younger generation, while forgetting also about the 1971 war, has also forgotten a lot about how foreign policy is conducted. And today, he's talking, of course, about an election where BNP boycotted himself. He used those words himself. So, Sheikh Hasina did nothing to ban any party from participating. The BNP chose to boycott. If they had taken part, they probably would have got elected. Here, today in Bangladesh, you have a Mohammad Yunus regime. Number one, he's proved himself to be completely unpopular, that he's being asked to step down even by parties associated with the Jamaat-e-Islami, number one. Number two, he himself has ordered that the Awami League will not take part, that the Jatiya Party will not take part, the 14-party alliance will not take part. And when he was questioned in New York, I saw the interview 2 months ago when he was there for the UNGA, he was asked, why have you banned the Awami League? He said, no, I have not banned the Awami League. I have just banned their activities. Then he was asked, will they take part in the election? Oh, the Election Commission can decide. Of course, the real truth in Bangladesh is totally different. Today, the Bangladesh spokesman of the Yunus government is not only ignoring the fact that 24 or 48 hours ago, a letter came from America from congressmen who have formally asked the Yunus to have inclusive elections. And this is being totally banned because the Jamaat-e-Islami realizes that the vote bank of the Awami League is still intact. That is the point. You may say that 20% of the people of Bangladesh took part, even in 1971, 20% of the people of Bangladesh were against the liberation war. These are the Radakars, the Jamaat-e-Islami, and the Al-Shams, Al-Badr, all these organizations created. Today, maybe that 20% is still there, but there's a whole other lot of people, the BNP supporters, the Awami League supporters, and there are many others who don't like Sheikh Hasina, but they still want the liberation war values to sustain.
No, and also, I don't think, there are very few who believe that this upcoming election in Bangladesh is going to be free or fair.
Please, can I finish that?
Yes.
I want to finish it by saying that the government of India has been insisting that the elections must be free, fair and inclusive. This is the only way. If you conduct elections that are not inclusive, they will never be accepted by the people. In 1996 in Bangladesh, the same thing happened. And that is why the caretaker government system...
No, because what happens in Bangladesh elections, it very much matters to India. This is not a question of interference at the end of the day. Abhijit, you want to add anything to that about what this... nobody is expecting anything miraculous to happen between now and the election. But what is the outcome that India is expecting in the near term? Or is it just going to be a kind of tense equilibrium?
Look, if after 1.5 years you haven't been able to erode Awami League support to the point you have to doctor the elections by not even allowing the Awami League to contest, it really shows you what you have achieved. Now, whatever election is held without the Awami League, let's say they contest as independents, irrespective, it is going to be an illegitimate election when the biggest party, the biggest support base is not allowed to contest. What you're going to see from now till then is going to be an increasing amount of violence doctored by Mohammad Yunus, the Jamaat-e-Islami and all his other allies. Why? Because they want to postpone those elections, and even after those elections, there will be illegitimate elections. There will be complete instability in that country.
Do you see things getting better? They're already very tense. Muqtadir, I'll give the last word to you and then I'll let Aditya answer you. Quick final comments from you, Muqtadir.
I think we should de-escalate the situation. We should think about the future of South Asia instead of any country. We think about the democracy should be promoted everywhere across the South Asia, and that is what I am working for. And I want democracy in Bangladesh should be restored by any means, and far right should be by any means they should be get rid of.
But those are noble sentiments, but nothing indicates that is where things are headed. Aditya, final word to you.
Shiv, it's sad that even educated Bangladeshis, even media persons are brainwashed to such a level that they believe that India is going to interfere and conduct elections in Bangladesh in one way or the other. If we are talking about the intervention, why doesn't Muqtadir and others also speak about the WikiLeaks that spoke about Mohammad Yunus's meeting with the US diplomats, where he said that I want to be the Prime Minister, but for that these two women, Khalida and Sheikh Hasina, need to be moved out. this is the reality. He is trying to perhaps please some Western masters. Perhaps future will tell us. The Russians spoke about it. Perhaps somebody in future will write a book about the regime change operation.
Okay, that election is going to happen whether we like it or not. And we'll have to just see how it goes. India does have options. I didn't want to get into those most explicitly because, one again runs the risk of saying, oh, you have options. That means interference as well. That's the favorite flavor of the season during the India-Bangladesh friction that we're seeing. Muqtadir, Abhijit, Aditya, Ambassador Sikri, pleasure. Thank you for your time tonight on this discussion on India Matters. As Bangladesh descends into an abyss of chaos, violence, with radical Islamic groups running amok, one of the major political events ahead of the elections scheduled for February is the return of one of the most important figures in current Bangladesh politics, and Aditya just referred to him. Tariq Rahman, former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia's son and political heir, and the acting chairperson of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, or BNP. He'll return to Bangladesh tomorrow. The BNP has obtained permission to organize a reception marking the return of this man. His return comes at a time when his country is at a crossroads, and Rahman could be in a position to give it direction, as his party still remains the front runner in the February 2026 election. The chances of a BNP win are high unless there's a major upset.
A nation on edge. Streets unsettled by violence. Institutions under strain. And now, a political return that could change everything. After nearly 17 years in exile, Tariq Rahman, the political heir of Khaleda Zia and the face of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, is returning to Dhaka. The BNP has secured official permission for a massive reception, signaling confidence, momentum, and a campaign already in motion. Rahman's return comes at a time when Bangladesh is seen to be at a crossroads. Radical Islamic groups are increasingly visible on the streets, while the interim government led by Muhammad Yunus faces criticism over legitimacy, governance, and foreign policy decisions taken without an electoral mandate. Tariq Rahman has made one thing clear: foreign policy will change if the BNP returns to power. At a rally in Dhaka earlier this year, Rahman unveiled his Bangladesh First doctrine. The slogan marks a sharp departure from the current interim government's outreach to Pakistan and a clear contrast to ousted PM Sheikh Hasina's India-centric diplomacy. With the Awami League banned from contesting, the political battlefield is now centered around the BNP, while Islamist outfit Jamaat-e-Islami waits on the sidelines. Once allies of the BNP, Jamaat has refused to join any traditional electoral front this time. Against this volatile backdrop, Tariq Rahman is positioning himself as the face of democracy's return. Once jailed for 18 months and forced into exile in 2008, Tariq Rahman's return now places him at the very center of Bangladesh's future, tasked with uniting a deeply polarized nation, countering radical forces, and restoring an elected government. Bureau Report for NDTV.